Today we're out here at the auction finding great cars they killed too early. And Brendan, where are we at?
Yeah, we are at Dealers Auto Auction of the Rockies here in Colorado, and we're got a pretty big selection here of, I think, about over 800 cars today to look through. So I think we can find some good ones that fit your criteria, Tommy.
And this is probably one of the best examples of them all. This is the Chevrolet SS. They sold it in the US for just 4 model years. And what is this car? Because Brendan, it looks a little boring.
Yeah, so this is actually a Holden Commodore underneath. And believe it or not, these were built in Australia, even though it's an American car, and then shipped here to the States, sold as the Chevy SS. And before it was the Chevy SS, it was also the Pontiac G8. And I think these are fantastic, really cool cars, rear-wheel drive, V8 under the hood. How does it get any better than that, Tommy?
This is kind of what I would define one of the ultimate sleepers, because to car enthusiasts, we all know what this is. To your average guy in the street, they're gonna think that this is a Malibu, right? Or an Impala.
Exactly.
But let's pop the hood and show them what's underneath, because these came to the States with a monster 6.2 liter LS3 V8 feeding the rear wheels only. And what's the power number, Brendan?
Yeah, so this put out about 415 horsepower, which in modern standards, that doesn't sound like a whole lot. But when you think about this came out in what, like 2014 or 2015? This was a pretty powerful engine, especially in a rear-wheel drive sedan.
But they just didn't sell that well. And they were dead by the 2017 model year. They built them for 4 model years, 14 through 17, and that was it. And Brendan, this one's hiding a little secret. Why don't you stand at the back?
All right.
I'm gonna fire this thing up.
Sounds good.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Whoa! Yeah, that sounds fantastic, actually.
Why don't you hop in? We'll take it for a ride.
Sounds good.
Hey guys, Alex here to talk to you about life insurance. Why? Well, I drive a tiny Japanese K-van with a top speed of 65 miles per hour on big interstates. I ride motorcycles at the track at 125 miles per hour for fun, and I have a mortgage and a dog, Frankie. Gotta love Frankie. Now, when it comes to life insurance, Ethos makes it as easy as it gets to find and buy it. With their help, I can find a policy that works for me where I am in life, financially and health-wise. Ethos's 100% online application process takes just minutes to complete, with no medical exam or blood test required. Just answer a few questions online and I'm done. For the price of a grande stuffed burrito each month, I can get life insurance now and lock in a low rate. In fact, according to Investopedia, the longer I wait, the more expensive it gets, with premiums rising an average of 8 to 10% more each year. So even though I'm still in my 20s, I'm going to get life insurance for peace of mind and for Frankie. If you're interested in learning more about Ethos, or you're interested in getting your free life insurance quote, check the link in the description below.
Now, Brendan, not only are these cars powerful, they got a nice interior. We've got this good size screen, probably an 8-inch screen there, suede on the dash. This thing's pretty luxurious.
These look pretty good. And these came with a 6-speed automatic, but you could get a 6-speed manual in these, which made them even more cool.
All right, we're gonna give it a squirt of acceleration. Oh, wow, Brendan.
Sounds good.
Yeah, these also have a nice tight suspension, good steering, paddle shifters. This is like someone that wanted the Camaro, but they happen to have a couple of kids and about 60 grand hanging around. I present to you the Chevy SS.
Yeah, these are fantastic. And nowadays, these are trading for like $30,000, so half the price of when they were new. Now, we had a lot of comments in the last video asking us for that data as to what these cars actually sold for, and I am here to bring them to you. So on that first car, that Chevy SS, it actually bid up to $23,250, but didn't actually sell because it didn't meet the reserve.
Now, Brendan, here at the auction, we have hundreds of cars to choose from, and most of them are going to be your whites, your blacks, your grays, your pretty standard color. And then this yellow beauty showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is the Kia Stinger GT, which is probably my favorite Korean car of all time. These things are fantastic when they came out, and it really gave Kia kind of a performance pedigree that they previously didn't have.
And this car just went out of production, which is such a shame, because the design is beautiful, the performance is impressive. What's the power on this thing, thing, Brendan?
Yeah, so these have a 3.3 liter twin turbocharged V6 engine that is putting out over 360 horsepower, Tommy.
Yeah, wow. Look at
And
that
instead of
beast.
proper wheels, the rear wheels as well.
Well, or all-wheel drive.
That's right.
Depending on the trim, yep. Now, they also made the 4-cylinder, and you could also get them in a number of different models. This one is the limited, and check out the inside, Brendan. Look at that steering wheel.
Is that factory option?
That is not. No, someone has put one of the more questionable carbon wheels I've seen on this car in a long time. But the interior on these, really elegant leather bucket seats, heated steering wheel, heated seats, decent infotainment screen. These cars are awesome. I wish Kia didn't kill them, but not enough of you are buying them, folks. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. If you want cool cars, you gotta buy them.
That Kia Stinger actually sold across the auction block for $20,000, which I think is quite a bargain for a car that cool.
Now, Brendan, when it comes to sleepers, there are a lot of options out there. Cars that don't look that fast but are super high performance, and this is probably one of the most iconic, the Ford Taurus SHO, or some say SHO.
Yeah, and pretty much every generation of them, that is their goal, is to make a boring, mundane car very fast and very exciting to drive, but still keep the look of a standard Taurus.
Now, this was the 3rd generation of the SHO. You want to pop the hood there, Brendan?
Yeah.
And what was cool about these, especially for those of us that lived at elevation, is these were twin turbocharged. So under the hood, we're going to find a V6, 3.5 liter, but with 2 turb skis attached to it. Makes 365 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. And what wheels are being driven?
These are all 4 wheels are being driven by this engine. And believe it or not, you could actually find this engine, I believe, also in the Flex, which had an EcoBoost version of it, as well as the Explorer.
And the F-150. I mean, they use this engine in a lot of stuff. But what was cool about the Taurus, it was a little bit low, a little bit sleek. Yeah, these are cool.
Yeah, this is probably the lightest example that they put this engine in. So this is going to be the quickest one.
All right, well, let's go take it down the strip.
Yeah.
Now, the inside of this Taurus has kind of got that double bubble binnacle like the Mustang, which was kind of sporty. You got these big, comfy, reclining chairs, kind of like a lazy boy, but then lots of plastics.
Yeah, I mean, I do like these seats. They do have some suede inserts that make them feel extra special. And then you do get some paddle shifters that feel kind of cheap and chintzy, to be honest with you, here on the steering wheel.
We also have Sync, by the way, which is the early Syncs, some of the worst infotainment ever made. I think the processor from this is from about 1973, and they were powered by Microsoft, but it was just really pretty bad. They just weren't very good. You know, they also look pretty old now, but I'm kind of worried, you know, all these modern cars with all these huge screens, like, are they going to look like this in 10, 15 years, where they're like, whoa, what is this? This is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Whenever you add a lot of technology to a car, it's always going to date itself after 10 years. That's just the name of the game and how it goes. But we've got it here on the test track. I'm going to floor this thing and see if it's got the power that I think it has in my head. Let's see.
There go the turbos.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, once those turbos kick in, it is a pretty exhilarating little ride. I mean, it took a little bit for them to spool up, but I have heard that these are pretty easily tunable, where you can get a heck of a lot more power out of them.
Yeah, I mean, you can crank these up to 11, Brendan, and get some serious oomph out of them. I love these Tauruses. I think they're really cool. Highly underrated, in my opinion, and definitely worth your look.
Yep, and it's a shame that they don't make them anymore.
Yeah, what the heck, Ford? You killed all your cars, except the Mustang, but all your passenger cars, gone.
The Taurus SHO sold for $6,250, which is an incredible bargain for that amount of performance.
Brendan, we've looked at some performance cars that really get the heart racing, but how about one of the most practical SUVs ever made that you can no longer buy?
And that would be this guy, none other than the Honda Element. And although it had a lot of fanfare and actually sold decently well, there was only ever one generation of them. And I just don't understand. I mean, there's a huge cult following for these things because they are so darn practical.
And they built these from like 03 through I think 2011-ish. So we're looking at like a 9-year production span, about 350,000 sold, and then they killed it. But wait till you see some of the cool things on the inside. Now, you had these neoprene seats, Brendan, the vinyl floors, which meant you could hose the interior out. It was super easy to keep these clean. They're also captain's chairs.
Yeah, and it has these interesting opening rear doors. And what's cool is you can open it and look at this, you can see completely through the entire car. And the other thing that I like too is these rear seats, they fold up and out of the way. So if you want to use this as like a little van to haul things around, you sure can.
They were shockingly practical. There you can see the vinyl floor throughout. They also, if you come back here, Case, they have a real tailgate. So you can tailgate off of them, even this little cover that covers the gap. And then, yeah, like you mentioned, look, the seats go up out of the way. You've got this huge space in the back. Completely fantastic for folks with dogs, goats.
I think this even won Dog Car of the Year 1 year for it. And the other nice thing that I like about these too, you can fold these seats completely flat as well as the front seats, so you can make one giant bed.
What is
camp
this?
In it.
I'm trying to push this down, but it's a little stuck. There we go. Oh,
That's just your spare.
Little spare tire. Yeah, Brendan, I mean, this was a car designed more for practicality than design. They built the perfect box, all-wheel drive. You can get it with the manual transmission, and then they killed it.
Yeah, it's such a shame. I mean, I will say, as far as the driving characteristics of it, it kind of drives like a commercial small van because it feels kind of tinny without any of the carpet in it. But it's still a decent car to have, and they're incredibly reliable.
Look, you got little windows that pop out back here. They even did one that had like the fabric pop top. Remember that?
That's true.
It's
yeah.
like a little Westphalia. I mean, I love the Element. I'd love to own one. They should never have killed this. This would be so popular today.
For sure. Now, that Honda Element was actually only a front-wheel drive version with over 200,000 miles on it, so it only brought $2,000 at that auction, but I still think that's a pretty good car to have, especially with all the utility it provides.
Now, Brendan, I think we found another vehicle here which they discontinued very recently, but was actually very, very cool. They only built it for a few model years, and it's not just any JL Wrangler. This one has something special under the hood.
Yeah, so this one is the Diesel Wrangler. And, you know, Tommy, when I was looking up this car, do you know that it actually has a lemon law?
This particular one was lemon lawed, huh?
Yeah, so that basically means that the manufacturer bought it back because it had so many problems, and I wonder why.
Well, I don't know, but look, here's what I do know. This Jeep is powered by a 3-liter diesel engine. This is the EcoDiesel Wrangler. Now, this was a $6,000 option on top of the V6 when you include the transmission, and a $4,500 option on top of the Turbo 4. So they were really expensive, but they made 260 horsepower, but 442 pound-feet of torque.
Wow.
And the regular V6 made 260 pound-feet of torque. So we're talking almost 200 pound-feet more torque.
So this thing could pretty much just like vertically climb up a mountain then with that amount of torque.
Well, that was the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was more fuel efficient. And the thing is, like, everybody had been asking for a diesel Wrangler for years and years. And Jeep said, no, no, no. They finally gave it to us. It was around for a few years. Then they killed it in the Wrangler, and now it's going away in the Gladiator as well.
That's such a bummer. I mean, it's a cool idea, and I'm guessing it maybe just didn't sell all that well, and then maybe that's why they discontinued it.
And it was just too expensive, and it's pretty rare to see one on a sport trim like this. Usually you see them on Rubicons or the higher end models, because if you're spending $6,000.
Well, they couldn't afford the other options, so they could only afford the diesel, and they're like, I'm getting a diesel no matter what. And then, you know, the time came for them to look at their car payment, and they're like, well, I can't afford anything else. So
that's it.
That's it.
Well, let's take it for a spin. I want to show you what this diesel can do.
Sure.
Now, there were a couple other things that maybe set the diesel back a little bit, Brendan. First of all, it was only available with the automatic, and second of all, it was only ever available in the 4-door. So like the ultimate enthusiast Wrangler in my mind would be 2-door manual transmission EcoDiesel was never an option.
Yeah, and well, this one's got some interesting specs. It's got, as you said, the 7-inch screen, but it has heated steering wheel and heated seats. So this person, I'm guessing, probably custom ordered this because this is a pretty rare spec Jeep.
You want to feel some torque though? Ready?
Let's feel it.
Full throttle. There's the torque. Really boogies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For a Jeep, you know, the red line's only about 4,500 RPM because it's a diesel, but it's got such a great kind of midline torque band. And here's what these engines were great for: is a lot of folks bought these Wranglers and then they wanted to put 37s or 40-inch tall tires on them, and then the V6 couldn't keep up, and the 4-cylinder sounded like a vacuum. So you could buy the diesel, get this great diesel clatter, get a lot of torque, and these are great for modifications.
I will say that it is a very strange noise to be hear coming from a Wrangler, though.
Yeah.
I'm just not used to hearing that diesel clatter from a car like this.
Yeah, it is a little odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I love these things. I think they're really cool. It's a shame they discontinued them, but maybe in the used market, I'd consider one.
There you go. Now that Wrangler actually had a lemon law title, which definitely affects the value of a car. But even with that in mind, it still brought $22,500 across the auction block. I mean, granted, that's a pretty new Wrangler, so it is a decent deal, but that's still a lot of money.
So Brendan, we try to keep the cars on the TFL car channel and the trucks on the TFL truck channel, but what if it's kind of somewhere in between?
And that is why you get this. This is none other than the Cadillac Escalade, but it's not just any Escalade. This is the EXT, which basically means that they took the Chevy Avalanche and Cadillac-ified it. Is that how you'd say it?
So it's kind of part SUV, part truck with some of the wildest features in existence. So Case, why don't you hop to that rear door and we're going to show the party trick of the Escalade EXT. Now, we got these big comfy leather seats back here. You pull up the base, then you can actually recline the backrest. You undo a couple of knobs on the inside, flick a switch, and this mid-gate comes down, extending the bed length probably 2-3 feet, Brendan.
Yeah, that's pretty darn nifty, I have to say. I mean, it was nice in the Avalanche, but then you add on the fact that you've got a luxurious ride on top of it, and man, you get the best of both worlds.
I'm thinking the window comes out too, doesn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
I don't want to do that because I guarantee break it if I try to do it on camera right now. But let's hop back here, Brendan, and show some other cool features. Now, this was a weird decision to do a Cadillac truck, but I think you love these things.
I do love these things. I mean, any of these old GM trucks and SUVs are just fantastic. I mean, not only is this thing luxurious and convenient, it's got the 6.2 liter V8 with 400 horsepower under the hood.
And this bizarre tonneau cover that comes apart in bits. So it actually, let me undo that latch. Instead of just kind of folding or rolling, instead you got these panels that pop out one at a time. Look at that.
That's pretty nice.
That's kind of funky, right?
Yeah, it makes it pretty useful, actually.
Yeah, so you got the truck, you got the work in the back, but then you got the party up front because we got the wood steering wheel, the heated seats, the touch screen. Pretty nice stuff for
and then, of course, all this, like, what, fake aluminum trim, and, of course, the analog clock up top.
Yeah, Brendan, this is a cool car.
Now, not every car that runs at this auction actually sells, and the Caddy was one of them. It did not sell. It didn't even come close to the reserve that was on it, but it may run next week or another week after that, and it may sell later on down the road.
So of all the vehicles that have been discontinued that we wish to come back, Brendan, what's the top of your list?
Taurus SHO.
Taurus SHO?
Taurus SHO.
Really?
Absolutely. It's such a cool sleeper car. I mean, people loved the Taurus SHOs, and then when the Taurus died and the SHO died, I think it was a sad day. What about you?
It's gotta be this. I actually think the truck Cadillac would be such a popular seller nowadays. I don't think it'd be that hard because they're already somewhat related to the Silverados,
Yeah.
so that would be my choice.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like a luxury truck?
Guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. As always, it's been Tommy.
And Brendan.
We'll see you on another episode here at Dealers Auto Auction of the Rockies.
Take care.